Hey guys, welcome back. And this week we are back on the Rockster and we have to fix a bit of an oil leak. All right, guys, welcome back. And those who remember, this is the Rockster. This is a much maligned and forgotten about project on my channel, but I've had it for a few years, and it was the ugliest Porsche Boxster in the country, if not the world, which I kind of saved a little bit. The paint job I did in the last episode didn't work out that great. If you missed it, I'll put a link up above to that. And like always, please like, comment. Comment particularly really helps out that crazy algorithm. Now, as you saw in the last episode, the paint did not come out as good as what I hoped, but look, it's way better than it was, and now it's all reasonably consistent. But it is a race car, as I mentioned many times last episode, and it's pretty good for that. But one of the things that's really been irking me is it's had a leak, which I think is coming from my oil filter housing. I had to weld on some fittings and adapt to that. And it was a minor leak before, but now whenever I drive it, it actually, it's quite an aggressive leak. And at first I thought it was just a loose hose fitting, but I'm not sure if that is actually the case or whether I actually have to pull things apart and actually re-weld things and stuff like that. So the first thing we need to do is get it up on the hoist, have a look and see what the problem actually is. So you can see here the amount of oil that it leaked, just moving it backwards and forwards to get it square on the hoist. And yeah, I've got a bit of rust prevention going on here with the oil leak, but it looks like it's coming out of this filter housing. So I need to look a little bit further and see exactly where it is. It may actually be the housing is not actually clamped onto the fitting strong enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean everything up and then start the car on the hoist and see if we can actually see where it is coming from. I can see that this is loose. That is all it is this fitting is loose. So I'm going to drop the oil filter and see if I can tighten up the internal fitting that holds it together. But the sandwich plate is loose, so let's see if we can take it off, clean it up, tighten it up, and that may be a really simple fix. Fingers crossed. So this sandwich plate is basically between where the oil filter is. It then steps it out so I can run leads to the oil cooler. And the fitting was not tight enough. Even tightened all the way down, it was not holding a seal. All right, so it looks like it was definitely leaking from the back of the sandwich plate. So there is a rubber O-ring gasket on the back, but I was having a look at the way I actually mounted this. So this is the fitting that goes through that sandwich plate and bolts onto the engine itself. And this gap is for the sandwich plate, and then you've got this part here where the filter goes onto. There was no washer on here, and this is just tightening against the sandwich plate. And I think basically, I tried tightening it up. It was already as tight as it's going to get. So I think there's supposed to be a washer, and I don't know what happened to it, whether I lost it or whatever, or it never came with one. I don't know. It was one of these sort of aftermarket things, and I modified it as well. So that may have been the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself up a washer to fit this. Then I can fit it back on again, and I should be able to get that sandwich plate a bit tighter, and hopefully that will stop our leak.
So you would think making a big washer is not that big a deal, and so did I. And then I tried to make one, and you can see this first one I've tried to use a hole saw and then trying to hold it in place and drill out the center. So I realized drilling the center out first was easier, and then trying to change it over and fit a hole saw on, and then that wasn't cutting through, and getting it perfectly centered was an issue. And then I remembered I had this hole punching tool.
All right, that was so much work to make a very, very odd looking washer, but it doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to work, and it fits nicely onto the shaft, and hopefully that will give me just enough room to be able to get some tension on that adapter and hopefully stop my leak. So I'm going to try and put it back in, clean up that O-ring, put it back in, tighten it up nice and tight, and see if we can stop leaking.
So if it wasn't clear, by using these washers, what I've done is instead of the threads bottoming out in the bottom of the hole, it spaces the hole fitting up a little bit further, and I can get some tension.
All right, so I ended up needing to make up 2 washers because one washer that was still loose, I couldn't get it tight enough. So 2 washers has got enough space there so that I've got it nice and tight. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to get in there now, top up the oil, and fingers crossed it doesn't leak.
So fingers crossed for the test run to see if we can get it to work without leaking. And while we're there, obviously we want to get in and top the oil back up first, so we get in there and do that. And also while I'm there, I top up the power steering fluid because that was making noises you heard earlier.
All right, and we have no leaks. That is fantastic. That is a win. Yay! This thing sounds so good. Oh, it may not be the prettiest, it may not be the fastest, but jeepers, it's got to be one of the best sounding Boxsters out there, surely. Yeah. All right, I ran it then, warmed it all up, no leaks. It's leak free, which is fantastic. So that was relatively simple. Well, it took me several hours actually to try different options to make those washers, but it is now that bit at least done. So yes, we can go on to finishing off a bunch of little bits and pieces on this and get it ready to put it on the market and get it sold.
So part of the tidy up is replace these side quarter glasses. They're Lexan, and these ones were chipped and broken and cracked in the corners. So quickly cut out and replace these. At least I have the old ones as the template, so they're pretty easy to tidy up and trace out, and then just cut it out with the jigsaw. Then drill out the mounting holes for the corners to help hold them in place. I found just trying to glue them didn't work. They needed screwing as well, just because of the slight curve of these rear quarter glasses. Then with them in place, I traced out the inside of the opening so I know what bit you need to be able to see through and what bit to paint black, and then transferred that onto the outside, cut it out, and using the plastic that's already on there, I can have that as the mask. I go over it with some Scotch-Brite, clean it up with some Prepsol, and then go over it with my black enamel. Then I can screw them all into place, making sure they're sitting there all nicely, and take off the rest of the plastic and seal them in with some windscreen sealant, and they look nice and fresh and clean.
All right, we are leak-free. The car is finally running the way it's supposed to. Everything seems to be working on the Rockster, which I think means it's time to reassemble it all properly and get it ready for sale. So let's start doing that. I need to bolt on the bonnet. I need to bolt in a bunch of things and give it a tidy up and just make it look a little tiny bit more presentable than it currently is.
So time for the final assembly. So refitting the bonnet, and actually these bonnet pins, I assembled them completely and then realised I missed the big washer basically that goes on the bottom of it, so I had to completely undo them all and then bolt them all back on again, and all this sort of stuff are the little things that end up taking so much extra time. Then it's time to finally give the Rockster a bit of a clean up. It's been pretty neglected, sort of left in the yard for quite some time, and I haven't really touched it, so it was about time it actually got a bit of a tidy up and reassemble it all, getting ready for the sale. And as you can see here, I'm doing a bit of a clean up in the interior as well, and actually, as of recording this, the Rockster is actually sold. I did actually end up advertising it and selling it a few weeks ago, and I've taken a while to edit this video and put it together, but it is off to its new owner.
All right, well, that is the Rockster all finished up. That's I've given her a bit of a wash, and it's all cleaned up, and it's looking reasonable. I mean, the paint is average, as we said, but I mean, it's still, quite a nice looking track car if that's what you're after. The next owner could always re-register it. It needs engineering and it could be registered. So that is also a possibility. I just don't have the motivation for this project anymore. So hopefully it goes on to someone who will appreciate it. Even the interior is looking reasonably neat now. We have the AccuSump down under there, and it's fine. It doesn't have a horn, and there's a few other bits and pieces that could be tidied up. But again, I think that's where I am going to leave it. All right, and that is it for the Rockster. This is where I'm going to leave it. It is now going to be advertised and for sale. So I hope somebody else gets some fun out of it. I really enjoyed the build. I think like I mentioned on a podcast I did recently, if you want to go and check out the Porsche Talk podcast or Porsche Talk radio show, I think they call themselves now, that if I had to pick driving cars for the rest of my life or building, but I could only do one or the other, I think I would pick the building. I really enjoy the build more than I enjoyed the driving, and with the Frankenhauler nearing completion, and this is basically done, I need to make way for the next big project. So it's time to say goodbye to the Rockster. Hopefully you enjoyed this series. Hopefully you got something out of it. And as always, do the things. If you liked it, make sure you like the video and you comment. It really helps out. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, guys. See ya.